News at 6 on NBC 6 HD.
And right now on NBC 6, a ship is set to sink 6 miles off of Key West to become an artificial reef. Local officials are thrilled about the new reef, saying the ship should provide an incredible site for scuba divers and snorkelers. Hank Tester takes a look from the Conch Republic.
Many of these deck plates will be opened up right before we sink the ship in order to provide marine life access as well as for divers to be able to see into the bridge.
Gutted, cleaned, ready for the briny deep, the Vandenberg will be sunk. 523 feet of artificial reef. It's been and it is a $8.5 million project. And boosters say the payback will be phenomenal.
Put heads in beds, bring people here, have them visit your dive shop.
Time for a brief community congratulations. Key West leadership meeting. By June 1st, a real attraction will sit on the bottom 6 miles from Key West. And once this is all underwater, there's going to be plenty to look at.
It's going to encompass a whole realm. Even snorkelers will be able to see it from the surface.
Guys, go up to the telescope mountain.
And that's the beauty of this project. Even a novice diver can view the superstructure. Technical divers will be challenged the deeper they go. Plenty of lower decks to explore. 10-year dream for Joe Weatherby, who believed in the project from the beginning.
Standing right here on this day, some of those desperate phone calls are hard to remember, but boy, we sure had a lot of help from a lot of people.
Federal, state, and local funds, plus the First State Bank of the Florida Keys saved the project. The World War II troop ship turned missile tracking spy ship will continue in service in 140 feet of water. Better than Disney World, divers tell me. This ship, when it goes down, will be a worldwide attraction. In Key West, I'm Hank Tester, NBC 6.
And a World War II ship is getting ready to go down for good. Crews will sink the General Hoyt S. Vandenberg off Key West, Florida on Wednesday. The wreckage will become one of the world's biggest man-made reefs, and Florida officials are hoping the reef will attract both fish and tourists. By the way, the ship has been cleaned of contaminants, and experts say it'll take just 3 minutes for the 17,000-ton ship to hit the ocean floor. That's a look at the news headlines. Back to you, my friends.
This is South Florida's CBS 4 News.
This was a very special Memorial Day for some veterans in Key West. They paid a visit to a Navy ship that served America during times of war. In 2 days, the General Hoyt S. Vandenberg will serve America again, enhancing one of our natural treasures, our coral reefs. Veterans of the Vandenberg walked aboard their former Navy ship for a final goodbye.
Oh yeah, lots of memories.
In the darkness, they remembered their time on the ship, taking one last look around before it's buried at sea. Wednesday morning, the Vandenberg will be sunk 7 miles off the coast of Key West. It'll go down in the Florida Keys Marine Sanctuary. Workers have spent weeks putting holes in the ship, making sure the 523-foot vessel sinks upright. The Vandenberg served as a troop carrier during World War II and later brought refugees from Europe to the U.S. During the Cold War, it was a spy ship collecting data about Soviet military technology.
Helped win the Cold War. I mean, it fought as hard as anybody else.
On board the ship, plaques have been placed to remember those who served here. The Vandenberg was retired in 1983 and purchased by the city of Key West for $1.3 million. Several million more were spent on cleaning the ship of pollutants, moving it and preparing it for its final mission on Wednesday morning, a mission these vets say will make them proud.
We were thrilled that where she was going, she would keep her name and her place in history.
While the Vandenberg will leave the Truman Annex in Key West tomorrow morning, the sinking is scheduled to take place Wednesday morning, weather permitting. It should take a grand total of 5 minutes for the ship to go down.
That's it. My goodness. Memorial Day was also...
Go into the chapel and live. And finally, an unusual scene in Key West, Florida today. This World War II era ship will be sunk this morning to become the second largest reef ever sunk to make an artificial reef. Officials hope the 17,000-ton ship will not only attract fish, but divers as well, and their valuable tourist dollars. That should be interesting. And now we're going to go to Sam Champion, a man who knows Florida very well. Good morning, Sam.
And loves it, Bianna, I know.
Well, it is a ship that carried U.S. troops to the front lines in World War II, the USS Vandenberg. And right now, that 523-foot ship is sitting 7 miles off the Florida Keys waiting to explode. Explosive charges set to blow within the next 6 minutes, sending the massive ship to the bottom of the ocean. Now, this ship was built as a cargo ship back during World War II, and it carried our troops home from that war. It tracked missiles at the height of the Cold War before its decommissioning in 1983. The USS Vandenberg has done its job. And now, well, you know what's about to happen. Phil Keating is live in Key West covering it for us. Phil, why are they blowing this thing up, and how's it going to go down?
Well, this was retired in 1903, the General Hoyt S. Vandenberg. It was a missile tracking ship in the Cold War era, but it's basically been sitting up in Norfolk, Virginia, gathering dust. So it is now going to become the world's second largest artificial reef, 7 miles off of Key West. And take a look behind us here. This is a happening. There are more than 100 boats out here. The Coast Guard is here. We've got Mel Fisher's treasure hunter ships over there. This is the place to be in Key West this morning. It's going to be quite dramatic. 42 explosive charges have all been
She's transported our troops around the globe, tracked the space launches, even eavesdropped on the Russians in the Cold War. But today, the USS Vandenberg, there she goes, folks. She had a new mission. She has been sunk off the coast of Key West, becoming a new artificial reef. This was done intentionally, that is sure to attract lots of tourists. Phil Keating watched her go down today, and he joins us live from Key West, which is the kind of place where we generally find Phil Keating. Hi, Phil.
Hi, Martha. I wish it actually was a little more often, but this morning was absolutely spectacular, and it didn't take long for the Vandenberg to go plummeting down 140 feet to the bottom of the ocean floor. 1 minute, 55 seconds after 42 simultaneous demolitions explosions just blew out all around underneath the ship. It quickly filled with water and landed perfectly, according to divers, sitting perfectly right up. Right now, it is on the ocean floor, but at 12 different spots on the top of the ship, it's basically 40 feet below the surface. It's that large of a ship. And so it's really going to be very popular. The locals expect to generate $10, $12 million in tourist dollars. But as far as planting these massive artificial reefs, which used to be U.S. Navy ships, and this one was an Air Force ships, well, we have the world's 3 largest artificial reefs currently sitting on the ocean floor off the state of Florida. The largest used to be an aircraft carrier off the coast of Pensacola. Then you've got the Spiegel Grove, which was sunk off of Key Largo, just up from here a couple of years back. And so this makes the world's second largest artificial reef now lying on the ocean floor. Really, it sounds like it went picture perfectly. And we'll get better video in the daytime because there were a lot of cameras on board the ship on the inside as it went down.
A retired U.S. warship is now at the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico. CNN's Jeannie Most fills us in on a most unusual mission from the Hoyt S. Vandenberg.
Prepare for that sinking sensation. It's not so much the 44 explosive charges that make an impression. It's watching a former troop carrier sink lower and lower and lower, till the stern of the Vandenberg disappeared. Sort of makes you say the same 4-letter word over and over again.
That was pretty cool, huh? It was a pretty cool experience. It's pretty cool.
The holes they cut in the ship made it sink right side up in just under 2 minutes. It took less time for the Vandenberg to sink than it took for a storm to sink the ship in the Little Mermaid.
Under the sea, under the sea. Darling, it's better down where it's wetter. Take it from me.
It'll be better for the fish. The Vandenberg used to track space shots and missiles. Now it'll be a habitat for marine life off Key West. It's the second biggest artificial reef in the world, meant to attract divers and tourism dollars. The biggest artificial reef is an aircraft carrier sunk off Pensacola, Florida. Spectators paid from $75 to $300 to watch the Vandenberg go down. The sinking was delayed for about 20 minutes. They had to wait for a sea turtle to swim out of the danger zone. And speaking of danger, the Vandenberg had a previous starring role in the 1999 film Virus. It was cast as a Russian scientific vessel attacked by robotic aliens. It's a little sad to see the last of a ship go under.
It was a wonder to behold.
Joe Weatherby described sinking the ship as surgery.
This brand is still alive.
In the movie Virus, the ship ends up getting blown up. But they didn't really blow it up. Good thing, because there would have been no ship to blow up. This time, swim with the fishes, Vandenberg.
Under the sea.
Jeannie Moe, CNN, New York.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
In his farewell address, General Douglas MacArthur famously told Congress, old soldiers never die, they just fade away. But what about an old warship? Kelly Kobiea shows us what happened off Key West, Florida.
What do you do with a 523-foot rusty old warship that's outlived its time? In this case, you sink it. That's the USNS Vandenberg you see going down.
1 minute, 45 seconds, a new world record.
Before long, it'll look something like this, an artificial reef, underwater playground for divers and fish. Artificial reefs are a growth industry. You can swim through old subway cars off the coast of South Carolina and snorkel up to a concrete margarita bar near Miami Beach. But they don't always work out as planned. These tires dumped off the coast of Fort Lauderdale to attract fish created a dead zone instead. The Navy is still removing them. This ship is meant to stay at the bottom.
We think this is really going to be a home run for both our environment and our economy down here.
It cost more than $8 million to clean and sink the Vandenberg. Locals both above and below water are hoping it pays. Kelly Kobiea, CBS News, Miami.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams.
It took months to build. It sailed the world's oceans for decades, but it took less than 2 minutes today to sink a giant World War II-era ship off Key West, Florida. The General Hoyt S. Vandenberg was sunk to create the world's second largest artificial reef, 523 feet long. The hope is it'll attract tourist revenue, mostly from the diving business. The ship settled on the sandy bottom in what we're told is 140 feet of clear water. Some health news tonight, an FDA report.
A big lightning hour, and then we get to dry out by the weekend. All right, let's head south.
All right, let's go all the way south, Jen, all the way out here to Key West, Florida. Look and listen closely. You'll find out why. This is the USS Vandenberg, and the crews filled the ship with explosives, set them off to send this decommissioned ship down beneath the waves. There it goes. As it sinks down, it will become a man-made reef off the coast of the Keys for sport divers and the fish and anglers maybe to enjoy, a home for fish. All right, you don't see that every day. Big ship sinking there and having it a camera right on board there.
And finally, in the newscast, we told you about this yesterday. We told you that there were plans to sink a World War II-era ship off Key West. Well, now you can see they did it. Everything went according to plan. The vessel was sunk to become the world's second largest artificial reef. A mounted camera captured some up-close footage as explosives sent it to its final resting place 140 feet below sea. It only took about 2 minutes for the whole thing to sink down there. And that is the news at 8:07. On to the weather now, and Sam Champion outside. Hi, Sam.
Hey, Kate. And it'll be a big dive attraction, too. It really will. Okay.
This is the Fox 11 10 o'clock news.
Good evening. I'm Amy Murphy.
And I'm Susan Hirosuna.
Remember that old Navy ship sunk a few days ago in the Florida Keys? It's already become a tourist attraction. Scuba divers are exploring the wreck of the Vandenberg. The World War II troop ship was sunk to become part of an artificial reef.
It's going to bring people down to ours. It's going to protect our reef, put heads in beds, and increase our tourism, which is our main industry down here. And that's the goal of this whole project.
The owner of a scuba diving operation says he's getting calls from as far away as Germany and Norway. He's booked more business for this summer than ever before.
The Lakers earned a return trip to the NBA Finals with a win.
Now underwater, the Vandenberg, not at all forgotten. In fact, it is a new tourist attraction. Definitely something to see under the sea. But you've got to strap on dive gear to get a glimpse of what sunk only days ago. Look at this.
It was the end of an era for the decommissioned ship, the sinking Vandenberg, on its way to a new mission. Next assignment, becoming an artificial reef that will be a treasure for divers and marine habitat. This video, courtesy of the Florida Keys News Bureau.
This is going to be probably one of the world's classiest wrecks to dive, and it's just a corner piece of the wreck trek for the Florida Keys.
Water warriors declaring it safe to dive to the bubbly depths below to see the Vandenberg. These divers among the first of thousands expected at what should be one of the premier ship diving sites in the United States.
I think it's exactly what we planned it to be. I think it's the world's best wreck dive.
The Vandenberg, good for business. Dive companies saying that already they have more pre-bookings than they've had in 38 years. Calls from all over the world.
You just get hypnotized when you're down there. This is going to bring people down to ours. It's going to protect our reef, put heads in beds, and increase our tourism, which is our main industry down here. And that's the goal of this whole project, to protect our environment and also to benefit our economy.
The Vandenberg is just such a mammoth ship. I've been on other wrecks everywhere throughout the world, and this is just the superstructure on the Vandenberg is just absolutely amazing.
Divers planting their flag, so to speak, on the next hot dive spot in the United States.
Looks like a lot of fun down there. The Vandenberg is so huge that the top of it is just 45 feet underwater. It's sitting on a bed of sand that's about 150 feet deep, to put that into perspective. Robin?
It's the mighty ship Vandenberg. She sailed on